What's up, friends? Hey, just giving a few minutes for people to come on here before we get going too much. So hang out there for a minute. We'll see if we get anybody else joining us, either on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook pages where these are going out to. But it's April 30th. Man, that's fun times for many of us, right? So what's that saying? April showers bring May flowers, and so it's a rainy day today here in Holt, Michigan, and so if you're a fan of the rain on days when it's not super cold, this is a great day for you. Generally, I like these days, especially when I'm able to go out and do something. And so right now, I don't know if that's the day, but today's April 30th. And so big news for us here at the Gonzalez house is that means it is Stephanie's birthday. So today is we snuck out of the house and went to Culver's and enjoyed a great big birthday dinner for her. Hey, I wanted to give a big shout out, right, to Farm Bureau Insurance is who we have our insurance through. And my friend, an elder at Holt Christian Church, somebody who has does some special stuff, is my insurance agent, but he works over at Farm Bureau. And let me see if I get this hand the right way. Right, and they're doing a give back $25 voucher. And so, man, Mark, all of you that work over at Farm Bureau, man, thank you guys so much for that. Big shout out. If you are looking for insurance, hit me up. I should have put one of his links on here. But Mark Voss with Farm Bureau Insurance, man, he can take care of all your insurance needs, whether it's life insurance, home insurance, car insurance, businesses, farms, whatever it is that you have. Mark's a great guy. And I've had a great experience with him. Good friend of mine, somebody that I really, really trust. And so if you need that, and they're doing some cool things with their voucher thing here, not only to reach out to everyone who's a Farm Bureau member, but also to first responders. They're sending more meals to them. And it's doing some great things. One, it's getting people out into the community, but also it is going to share or stimulate some of the economy for some people who maybe been staying at home. And so there's a list of local restaurants that are on there. And so Stephanie and I are going to use it this week. We'll give a shout out to Gravity's Smokehouse here in Holt. We're going to be shooting over there and getting $25 worth of smoked meat that I don't have to smoke in my backyard. So that's a bonus for that. And so, man, we're looking forward to it. And so, hey, but we talk about these things. And so right now my mouth's watering as I'm waiting for that meal and waiting for tonight. We're probably going to order some sushi from someplace to try to do our part again, to visit some local places. And that is an excuse to eat sushi, and so we love that, and we'll be doing that tomorrow, right? And so I'm listing off all these food places. We haven't gone out to eat so long. Tomorrow we're going to visit Sweet Sensations. So 2020 is going to go down in the books as the year when I get to go to Sweet Sensations on opening day twice, and the second time, because it's been so long since everybody has been not going there, that I'm not even keeping it a secret from my family. I might even take them all with me, and we'll go to Sweet Sensations and have some ice cream and enjoy Stephanie's birthday, and have some cracked chicken. And if you are in the Lansing area and you have not had cracked chicken, I don't know what you're waiting for. And so I'd encourage you to do that. Right. And so again, right, we've been talking about waiting, and I've been talking about this waiting period that we've been going through, of hopefully understanding that God is going to cause us to wait sometimes. And that's a good thing. It builds up in our relationships. It helps us, right? We even looked yesterday and said that in the fruit of the Spirit, one of the things that we're told is to have patience. And that's not always an easy thing, right? And to have joy, and to have joy in a waiting time is a hard thing. but it's hard for me to wait. And I shared that with you. And right as since it's Stephanie's birthday, I think of some gifts that maybe I waited for or didn't wait for or whatever else. But I was a kid in San Diego, California, which means that on Christmas Day, if I got something like a bike, I was able to go right outside and ride that bike that day. There was no gifts that were like, hold off until it gets to be better weather. Well, our first year in Colorado, we moved there at the end of the school year. So I spent the summer there. Wasn't very much different besides not going to the beach, but wasn't very much different. And then fall came and Halloween came with snow like it did often almost every year that I lived there. And I learned that you don't really walk on snow or travel on snow and ice the same way that you do on dry land. I learned that lesson. And so I spent most of the fall and winter inside because I was that California kid who didn't know how to operate inside of snow. And so I was embarrassed and I couldn't keep up with other kids. And so it took me a few years to actually learn how to function in snow. Imagine that now I live in Michigan where it snows. And so we stayed there. But that first Christmas was amazing because that first Christmas, I got a Walkman. And if you don't know what a Walkman is, ask your parents, ask your grandparents. But it was super, super cool. It was one of those Sony yellow ones. It was amazing. It had headphones. I was going to be able to listen to any music that I wanted to, wherever I wanted to go. Right, kids, it's like a iPod. That if you don't know what an iPod is, it's those things that were. It's your phone without the phone capability, and all it did was play music. But in this, you had to put in a tape. And so I was super excited that I got this Walkman. Except I wanted to leave the house in order to listen to it. Well, the other cool thing that happened that summer was that my sister got a brand new mountain bike. And I don't know what it was with my mom and dad, but they always said, hey, we're not buying girls' bikes. We'll buy you boys' bikes. They're tougher or whatever. I don't know what the deal was. But it was a brand new mountain bike. And I thought, I'm going to try this thing out. And so I got on that thing, and I wasn't going to wait for the weather to melt all the ice off the street that we lived on. I think as soon as it started snowing in December, ice didn't go off of that street until sometime in May, right? It just continually got packed down, and it was an icy road the whole time. And so I jumped on that bike, and I figured because it was a mountain bike, I'd be able to ride it anywhere I wanted to. And so I put on my Walkman, I put on the headphones, hit play. I don't remember what it was. Probably something super cool like Too Short or NWA or something. If you don't know who any of those are, I would recommend you to go check that out. But then you might get a little bit freaked out. So if you don't know who they are, just go with it, right? It was probably super cool. Might have been Guns N' Roses or something that was really hitting the charts when I was in 8th grade. And I jumped on that bike and took off. And I got all the way out of my driveway, and everything was feeling good. And then I got on that ice and I slipped a little bit, but I got back on control and I thought everything was great. I didn't make it all the way around the block before I found out that ice and stopping and turning do not all go well together. And in the blink of an eye, because I wasn't willing to wait, I broke my sister's brand new bicycle that she had just gotten for Christmas. I broke the Walkman that I had just gotten for Christmas, and I broke my pride. And by the time I got home, I think my parents were breaking my rear end, right? There was all kinds of broken things that happened because Conrad would not wait, because I have a hard time waiting. And I don't know about you, but if I would have waited, it would have saved so much, right? It would have saved that bike. It would have saved that Walkman. It would have saved my punishment. And it would have allowed me to actually enjoy what that was that I had received. Man, another one of that part of the fruit of the Spirit is self-control. And I think waiting begins to allow us to understand that self-control isn't something that just comes easy, but waiting allows us to build that up, to have some self-control into whatever situation that is. And man, I'm going to tell you that as a follower of Jesus, if you have to understand that self-control isn't just something that God hopes that you get. It's something that he bears out in his Spirit, that he hopes that we live out, that if we are actually into that relationship with him, devoted to him, that there will be times when we want something so bad, but we will have a little bit of self-control in order to wait. Why? Because in that waiting, it saves something. It might save pain. It might save heartache. It might save the opportunity for something better. It saves. And so the relationship, I think, is important for us to understand that there's patience, there's joy that comes with that patience, but there's a self-control that we need to exhibit. I'm reminded of a man named Abram, who God said, I'm going to bless you. I'm going to create a great nation from you. You're going to be a father of numerous descendants. You're going to bless the world through you. And he kind of laughed because he was old and his wife was old and things just weren't happening right. Man, and as God repeated that message to him, and as he remembered that message, he couldn't wait any longer. And so Sarah couldn't wait any longer. And so they decided they were going to kind of force the subject. And they come up with this plan that instead of waiting, they would use Hagar, one of their servants, as the mother of Abram's child. And it happens. Hagar becomes pregnant. She has a child named Ishmael. And God looks down and says, man, you messed up. Because you weren't patient in waiting, because you didn't have self-control, because you didn't find joy even in the waiting time that we had, because you weren't building your relationship with me, you thought that you had to take things into your own hand. And as we begin to see that story play out, eventually, right, God says, but my promise isn't done. My promise is my promise. And what I've said to you is still going to come true. Eventually, when Sarah is over 90 years old, right, her name gets changed to Sarah, she has a child named Isaac. And as those boys begin to grow, well, what naturally would happen happens. There begins to be fighting and conflict inside of Abraham's own house. And eventually, Abraham has to send off Hagar and Ishmael, his own child, who, man, if any of us have children, know that that's got to be one of the hardest things that he had ever done. To pack a lunch and to pack some water and to say, okay, go. I'm going to not see you anymore. I'm not going to. And we can play that out generations and generations afterwards. And there's tension and there's fighting inside of this. And all of it could have been saved if a little bit of self-control, a little bit of waiting, a little bit of building more on that relationship and trusting that God's going to do what he says he's going to do, even if it's not in our time, but in his, right? As Peter tells us that God is not slow as we understand it, but he's patient. Right? And for us to grab a hold of what that means we have to wait. And so I want to encourage you today. And I know there's some things that we desperately want to do, but maybe the better thing is to have a further out image and to just wait a moment. Yeah, will we miss out on something maybe for a second, but someday everything's going to open back up. Tomorrow, I'm going to get to enjoy ice cream. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I've had a little bit of self-control. The only ice cream that I've eaten is the box of sandwiches. And I didn't eat the whole box by myself, right? Maybe 3/4 and maybe 7/8 of it, but not all of it, right? Somebody else had some as well. But they had been stuck in there in the back, and I ate them. I didn't visit anywhere else. I didn't go anywhere else. I've stayed home as much as I can. I wear a mask. But I know one day, I'm not going to have to worry that the masks are messing up my beard. I'm not going to have to worry that I won't be able to go for a walk and end up getting a soft serve ice cream cone. And that day is going to come tomorrow. Man, I'm not going to wait forever. I'm not going to need to. I know that they're going to open up tomorrow. And tomorrow I'm going to walk to Sweet Sensations. I'm going to grab an ice cream and I'm going to enjoy that thing. And I'm going to have to social distance away from some other people. But that's going to be okay. Because as I'm eating that ice cream, I'm going to be reminded that if I wait just a little bit longer, that when I do finally get to high five physically or fist pound or hug somebody that desperately needs it, it's going to be so much better because it's not going to bring hurt and pain. It's not going to cause anxiety of, did somebody just get too close to me? And so I'll wait. And I'm going to just urge you to do the same thing. And not just in this current affair that we're dealing with, this current event that we're dealing with, but also in our relationship with God. I know there's some of you today that are listening, and maybe you don't even believe in God right now. Maybe he hasn't given you what you wanted. Maybe the thing is, just wait a little bit longer. Maybe he's not answering your prayers as quickly as you want to. Just wait. I'm just urge you, just wait. I don't need to convince you. I don't need to. God can do all those things. I believe that God is big enough to do all the fighting and all the convincing on his own. But me, I'm going to rest in that glory. I'm going to rest in that confidence that if I wait, God will do something better for me. So, hey, don't go out there. Don't crash any bikes. Don't break any Walkmans. Just wait. And then when the green light comes, we're going to be able to enjoy something so great. Why? Because sometimes waiting saves. Hey, God bless you all. I can't wait to see you face to face. If you want to hear more, see more, visit us at wholechristian.org. Visit us on Sunday mornings at 11 o'clock. I'm sorry, 10 o'clock. Oh, my goodness. Don't visit us at 11 o'clock. We'll be done. Visit us at 10 o'clock, and we're going to, with our services, enjoy your life. Enjoy waiting. Find some joy. Exhibit a little bit of self-control. Something great's going to happen. High five some of your friends out there, right? By reaching out to 5 of them, right? I know we can't physically touch them, but what we say is our high-fiving right now is contacting 5 people every week. So make sure you do that. Call 5 people this week. Make sure that they're doing okay, and give you a chance to chat with them. All right. I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you soon. All right. Bye-bye.